What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I am diving into the Psychic Cup for the first time. Now this meta is pretty dense, it always has been. It's a monotype, so expect to see a lot of the same Pokemon on the same teams. There's really not a lot of spice to be had. But I do love these three Pokemon in particular. That is going to be the Galarian Rapidash, Victini, and Claydol. Absolutely solid, amazing. I've used it in previous seasons. You guys might recognize this team or other variants to this team. But I just love it. So let me know what you guys think about this team. Be sure to give it a try because I think it performs really well for me. Let's go and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle. Now, do remember that I have moved house, so I'm a bit behind in terms of battles done, just because I don't have my normal schedule that I usually do. But we saw the little chompy fish there on the lead, I forgot the name. But we do see a Slowking, the Slowking swap in, which Claydol can really handle pretty well because we're doing super effective damage with Mud Slap, which is why I love Claydol. There's going to be the Slow Bros and Slow Kings that are part poison typing that you will see. There's going to be the Victinis, and there's going to be the Steel type Pokemon, and Claydol handles them all and has energy on the back end to force shields, which is absolutely amazing. So they're going to go ahead and farm us down, which is totally fine. And then we will come in with the Rapidash and look to go for Body Slams right away. It just does way too much neutral damage, like an absurd amount of damage, so we will be forcing that shield. And I have a feeling that I might be able to survive the Aqua Tail here. So I'm going to go ahead and no shield, but it was a Psychic Fangs instead, which is even better. And I'm going to go ahead and go. I was hoping I could get to the high horsepower, but I have to pull off and go for the Body Slam here, which should be just enough. I'm going to go ahead and swap in Victini and fast move down. Doesn't matter what's in the back, it's going to get boomed. It is going to be a Rapidash, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. I think I'd actually decide to no-shield this one. Yeah, I decided to no-shield. This was my first battle coming back, so I wasn't sure if the V-Create was going to one-shot, which is why I went for the back-to-back charge moves here, but it actually does. Boom! One-shots the Rapidash, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Again, this team, if you guys like energy play like I do, this team is very good for it. Alright, we got Malamar here on the lead. So, this is kind of a tough one, as the foul play just does so much neutral damage, but Body Slam and Fairy Wind also put a lot of pressure back. So this is our best matchup on our team in terms of the ability to take it down very quickly, and they do make a swap into Bronzong, which is totally fine. A Steel safe swap is obviously very ideal for us when we do have Claydol, so we're going to go ahead and swap into that and look to hard farm down and have a lot of energy on the back end. Now we do need to watch out for the potential payback, so I'm just going to go ahead and give up a shield here, but I don't think it was a Psychic instead, which unfortunately I could have gotten away with a no shield there, which would have been huge. But now we have lots of energy on the back end, and Malamar decides to throw. So this is okay. I was hoping I could win the CMP tie, or not win the CMP tie, but get the charge move off, and I was hoping they would go for more energy. So that's alright. We're going to come back in with the Rapidash here, look to get ahead, and then see what they decide to do. Now I can't give up my final shield. Victini needs it, right? So we're going to go ahead and no shield the foul play. It does do a lot of damage, and they swap out into their own Victini, which is ahead on energy, mind you. Very important. So now we have to play the mind game, and the mind game here is to no shield the first V-Create, and secondly, throw a Psychic and hope we get a shield. So I no shield the first V-Create. I'm going to go ahead and go for Psychic because it doesn't debuff me if I went for the V-Create. We get the shield, and they go for the back-to-back, which means I can safely shield this one and then look to go for my own V-Create, and that is going to be a good game. So a very situational opportunity right there. We take it down, and that is going to be the good game. The Malamar has to throw the foul play in order to take us out, but now it doesn't have enough energy on the back end for my Rapidash, so I should be able to fast move down, and I think they know that, so they decide to just stop, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Rapidash versus Malamar here on the lead once again, so pretty positive. I saw this quite a lot. And we do see an Alolan Raichu swap in. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for the high horsepower, right? Get a shield early. They should be expecting the Mega Horn or the high horsepower, but boom! One-shots the Alolan Raichu. See ya. Okay, let's see what they decide to come in with. It is going to be the Bronzong, so I'm going to come in with the Claydol. Obviously, such a favorable matchup for me because of Mud Slap. And like I said before, Claydol is very, very strong in this meta because of the poison, steals, and fires that you guys will see, and the hard-hitting charge moves on the back end. Because now, since they gave up a shield, I can safely shield right here, and then look to farm down with Mud Slap and have a charge move ready to go on the back end. Now, they did go for back-to-back heavy slams, I believe, right here, which is fine. We can survive that. They do swap in the Malamar, so hopefully I get to the Earth Power in time, which I do. Obviously, Shadow Ball, both do neutral damage, but the Earth Power, it's going to be forcing a shield anyways, and it could get that debuff as well. So we're going to go ahead and swap into the Rapidash to force their energy right here, as they do have multiple charge moves loaded, so they will throw back-to-back. Totally fine. Victini is going to be closing this game out for me. All I need to do is get to 2 V-Create, so that's what we're going to look to do here, because there is still the Bronzong in the back. So I will be giving up a shield. Now, this is going to be kind of close because they could potentially sack swap and catch the charge move. So I'm going to try to throw it at an awkward time, which I do right here, as they are in the middle of their fast move, which means they can't swap out. So V-Create, boom, takes out the Malamar, and the Bronzong is going to go down to fast moves, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. This team went on a tear for me today. I actually went undefeated with it in the sets that I did. Which was really fun. All right, we got Rapidash here on the lead. So this is always a tough one because it's just going to be a matter of who's going for the harder hitting charge move, whether that's high horsepower and Mega Horn, and who's going for Body Slam. But they're deciding to go for Body Slam, which is fine. And they do swap out into Claydol. So this is good that we got it out onto the field, because obviously we want to keep it away from our Victini in the back. And we did get a shield as well. So now I'm looking pretty good in this matchup to be able to safely shield one charge move. Excuse me. Shield one charge move, thinking this is going to be Shadow Ball, but it was in fact Rock Tomb. So unfortunately, obviously I'm reading my own energy right there, and they did have enough for a Shadow Ball, which is why I decided to shield that. But now this actually is going to turn out okay for me, because now I can fully farm down before they get to another charge move. So that actually played out very well. We're in the ones. We have plenty of energy. And they do decide to go for the Body Slam right away. Now, question is, does this actually KO? And it doesn't, which means I'm going to be able to get to the Shadow Ball in time, but they made a beautiful swap into Malamar to catch the resisted charge move. So now I got to swap back into my Rapidash and go for double Body Slams here to try to close this game out, because I should be able to get the final shield and get it low, which is what I'm looking to do right here. Because now Victini can once again sweep. This is like the moral of the story when it comes to this team, is the Victini sweep. You can safely let this go, come in, and remember the Rapidash threw its other Body Slam that it had, so I only need to worry about the foul play, which I'm going to go ahead and safely shield right here. And then we are going to be V-creating on the back end and just having a blast right here, literally. Because this Pokemon is just so much fun to use. And even in matchups where it's kind of tough, right? So a Claydol that you're facing off against, V-Create still does a lot of damage. Boom. See ya. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Rapidash versus Bruxish here on the lead. And this is always a tough one to be facing off against, because it's going to come down to if you can throw 3 Body Slams or not. You never want to be going for like a Mega Horn or anything like that, because they're going to shield anyways. It's so glassy that one Body Slam basically KOs it. It does like 80+% of its health. So we're going to go ahead and throw the second Body Slam, and now it's going to be a race to the third, and we get to it just in time. Oh my goodness, this is so clutch for us, because now Claydol can come in and one tap this thing down. We can safely no shield right here. Aqua Tail, totally fine, super effective, don't care. And now let's see what they have on the back end. And they surrender. They probably had Pokemon weak to Claydol and definitely get one shot by Victini, so good game. Alright, shiny Malamar here on the lead. We've played this a few times already, but they decide to swap out into a Gardevoir, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a Body Slam first before bailing out. And the reason for this is because now I can farm down with Victini with Quick Attack before they get to a charge move. So I'm going to go ahead and just commit to that hard farm down, and this is dangerous. Now, I'm assuming my opponent is going to be shielding V-Create, so I try to be sneaky and go for the Psychic, trying to make a forehead play, but they no shield, and I'm like, oh, that is so awkward. I am so far behind. I didn't do any damage. I didn't get a shield, and now I'm forced to shield my Victini so that I can go for V-Creates now. So lesson learned there, just go for the hard-hitting moves because you're trying to put the pressure down anyways. So we will be able to get to another one in time. So I technically, in this situation, could have gotten 3 V-Creates off. Just complete misplay on me. And instead, I decided to swap out back into Rapidash to save my Victini. And they do have a Bronzong in the back, which is it's totally fine because we have high horsepower right here. A beautiful charge move on the Rapidash, which nearly one-shots right there. It's not enough to actually one-shot. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. My win con is with Victini still to come in and farm down and have a V-Create ready to go for the Malamar on the back end because it doesn't have back-to-back foul play just yet. It's getting close, but it needs a couple more fast moves, and we're already right there at the V-Create. So that is going to be a good game. So still able to recover, but ultimately, that's a lesson learned, right? In that situation, you got Victini, you got double charge moves, max 100 energy. Just send it, right? Just go for it. And if you want to stay in that fight, put up a shield and go for more V-Creates, right? So we have a Victini here on the lead. It's obviously a tough Pokemon to deal with. They're going to go ahead and go for the V-Create right away. This kind of gives me a free opportunity to play around with them with my energy. Because now their defenses are severely dropped, which means body slams are going to be hurting. So typically you see Victinis try to go, and I swap into Claydol right away and get 2 fast moves through to farm down, and this unfortunate battler is 100% weak to Claydol, and you will find this, right? Whether it's double, I'm sure you guys have seen double bros in the back, or the slow king and the slow bro that are the poison type, or double steals. Claydol just runs through those teams. As you guys can see, it's a Slowbro and a Solrock, so Claydol is just going to be taking this team by storm. Now, these Slowbros had a community day a while back, and they do have access to Surf, but I don't think this one does. As you guys saw, they threw the Sludge Bomb, so I thought for sure it was going to be a Surf there. So I will get off the Earth Power here to force the KO. And then we just farm down. This is a good game. There's really not a lot they can do. I still have Victini, but ultimately their whole team, right? They're hoping not to face a Claydol, but I've been running Claydol on all my Psychic Cup teams just because it's that good against the meta. So good game. All right, we have the Rapidash here on the lead. Mirror fight once again, and this one is going for body slams right away, so no faking. Obviously, it does do a lot of damage, but we have an opportunity that they do decide to swap into the Slowbro. So we saved some energy, and now we're in a unique position where we can farm down. Now, if you face off against one that does Surf, 1 Surf will not KO, 2 will. This battler went for Focus Blast, unfortunately for them. That is heavily resisted. But in an ideal situation right here, right, you shield 1 Surf and you commit to the hard farm down. Because you will be able to do that. You have the energy on the back end, and you will be getting shields on the back end. But now I'm in a much better position. This typically should be the 1-to-1 shields against my opponent, but I have 2-to-0 now, which is obviously very good. I have a high horsepower ready to go, which is always awesome because boom, see ya. And then we swap into Victini and take out the Rapidash. So that game goes a little bit different when you do face off against the Community Day Slowbros with Surf. You just got to shield with the Claydol. You got to shield 1 and then farm down, and you'll get those shields on the back end, whether it's Malamar on the lead or whatever you're facing off against with Earth Power and Shadow Ball. So that's gonna be a good game. This team went absolutely crazy for me today, obviously. And again, I'm not as highly ranked because my schedule hasn't been normal, right? We just moved house, I got kids, it's a bit chaotic over here, but I'm doing my best, and this was a really fun team. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.